All right, you maggots, listen up. I want to cover something that I never saw somebody else cover. Uh, this radio, uh, as we know, has an FM broadcast band, but it'll also receive FM up around the CB band, so that'd be like 10 meters. And one of the trick things it does is, got to remember, when you receive the FM broadcast band, this front switch here, let's make sure she's in the frame. This switch here switches between the 455 IF and the 10.7. So when you move this band switch all the way up to FM broadcast, you're no longer using the 455 IF, you're using the 10.7. Also, if you go back one step back and you're getting the 27 megahertz band, which would be CB, they're not using 455, they're using 10.7. So you say, well, what difference does that make? Well, that allows them to use FM detection. But there's also another trick that had me going crazy. Now, a lot of you guys, I knew that. Blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm going to tell you, I understood the 10.7. I worked on FM radios. I know what 10 meter band, I believe it's 10 meter round CB. My ICOM had a special board in it to get that FM, narrowband FM. So this wafer switch here, what it does is it switches between 455 and 10.7. But on the other end, and this is very poor documentation in the schematic, on this end, there's another wafer switch. Make sure we're in the frame. I recapped the caps that were here. I got a cap, I don't know what it is. I couldn't find it. So I started saying, well, let me trace the wires that are in this section. And that'll get me to, on the schematic, then I can figure out which wafer I'm dealing with. Well, I still haven't got it 100% yet. But right here, this is a shielded wire. And when you go up into the last two positions, FM broadcast, and would be CB 10 meters, this goes to ground. And you're like, what the hell? That's what I said, what the hell? Well, I finally found this wire on the schematic. I expected to see these other parts. They're not there. They must be on a different wafer somewhere else on the schematic. That's what I'm closing in on. But anyway, when you go to broadcast FM and 27 megahertz, which would be 10 meter narrowband FM, this goes to ground. Well, this is a shielded wire. The shielded wire goes down below to the BFO can, and you're like, and I'm like, well, you would say, well, why would it go to the BFO? And then I'm thinking, what the hell? Why would it go to the BFO? And it was very tough to find it on the schematic. And I worked around. I finally found it. All right, here's what's going on. When you go up into the FM broadcast band, it shorts out the BFO, so the BFO will work at 10.7, but you never use the BFO on the broadcast FM broadcast band, but maybe way back they did. But when you come back one band back, we come back one band to the would be the CB band, 10 meter narrowband FM. They short the BFO out, and that's to get so you can use the BFO when you're in 10.7 megahertz IF. You got to remember, all the other bands, except for two, use 455, so your BFO would operate at 455 and give you your beat tone for code. But then when you go up to the 27 to, I think it's 50 megahertz band, you're using a 10.7. So if you want to copy code, if it's up in there on one of the ham bands, you're going to need your BFO to operate at 10.7, not 455. And that was the trick. I was losing my mind because there's a separate switch to go between FM, AM, and CW. But this radio, they incorporated so much into it, they just started adding stuff all over the place. And like I said in past videos, they were selling these and they were still designing it. So some of the schematics don't match the model you have. So The best you probably can do is to very carefully take each capacitor out and recap it with the known value. And I helped you a lot on the IF cans, and I showed you the discriminator. The BFO is just as similar to the discriminator as far as the caps are going to be bad. It's not going to oscillate. But I just wanted to show you this. You know, there's guys say, "Oh, I knew that." This is for the person that doesn't know. All right, that you got to remember. The BFO on this radio it won't say can, it does work at 455 if you turn it on. And when you're on the two top bands, it switches to 10.7, so you can beat the incoming frequency, the incoming tone or incoming signal to get a tone so you can copy code. The BFO is not used to get FM. All right, that is a separate discriminator. There's the two limiter tubes. The limiters, what they do is they take the output from the 10.7, the last IF can, and they amplify it real high almost to form like a square wave. And then the discriminator, after the two limiters turn it into almost a square wave, the limiters then go to the discriminator, which then pulls the frequency modulation out. It doesn't want amplitude modulation. That's why they can amplify the crap out of the signal and put it in saturation and still get a good FM signal. But I just want to show you that's where this thing's hanging. And this shielded wire, all it does is in two positions it gets grounded, and that goes down to a coil that has a center tap. And when the center tap is grounded, it's at 10.7. When the center tap isn't grounded, it's 455. So, in other words, this works separate from the CW AM FM switch. It's tough. This is really a tough radio, but I just wanted to include that in here because I've never seen anybody else explain this, all right, on the radio. I think that's it. All right, boy, that's it.